in an unbelievable surge of incredible bad policy, Prime Minister Trudeau announced a new series of measures to help tenants in Canada. Let's break it down. Look, before I start, I don't believe that the Prime Minister is wrong in his head. Like, I don't think the Prime Minister is crazy. I think he's a smart man. I think he's a capable person who's just got the most fundamentally wrong policies and complete political BS that you could ever imagine. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think all the things about we shouldn't be attacking the Prime Minister for being a bad person. But we must start to attack these incredibly crazy policies that are coming out. So let's break down just how crazy this whole tenant policy crazy town is, all right? First of all, the Prime Minister wants to set up a $15 million fund for tenants, to assist tenants in litigating landlords, in suing landlords. Suing landlords, okay? First of all, in all likelihood, this is unconstitutional. You can't set aside money from the federal government to legally attack a separate group. That's against the Constitution. That's literally wrong. And does it make sense? Does it make sense to convince more and more landlords to stop renting to tenants and to sell okay, you might say, well, they'll sell their properties, that will help homeowners. But this is to protect renters. This is to protect tenants. The landlords will simply sell their properties to people who are going to use them. Okay, so if you want to maybe help homeownership, this isn't the worst policy. Drive landlords crazy so they'll sell their properties. But to help tenants, this is literally crazy. Like, it's absolutely the dumbest thing I ever heard. Litigate landlords, sue landlords is going to help tenants. That's nuts. They'll just sell this. They'll just sell their properties and to homeowners and give up. Now, the next idea is to force provinces who have for 200 years had the jurisdiction on rents, and landlord-tenant relationships has been a provincial jurisdiction for 200 years in Canada. They're going to force provinces to adopt a universal standard lease to be used at every place in Canada. Well, I got one word for that. Quebec. Quebec is not going to stand for this in any way, shape, or form. No province will, but Quebec has an enormous, maybe a 300-year tradition of landlord and tenant relationships, okay, which are very much steeped in their culture. And we're now going to impose a federal government lease on every person in Canada, every province in Canada. It's absolutely crazy. Like, it's just a non-starter. You can't even dream of doing it. It's no one in Quebec is going to accept it. Even the tenants in Quebec are going to object to it. They want their own lease. They've had their own lease forever in Quebec. Never going to stop. It's nuts in every province. It doesn't even make sense. So, like, I'm serious. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. No province is going to adopt this. He says he's going to have cooperation from the provinces. There will be no cooperation of any kind. None. Zero. There will be no cooperation at all. It's just a crazy political lie. It will never happen. It's just absolutely crazy. And finally, that the government is going to mandate that all lenders for mortgages take into account a tenant's rental history as part of the criteria, the mortgage underwriting, the reason that a bank will give you a mortgage. If you're a new home buyer and you've been renting, that the lender must take into account your good payment history. Well, I got news for the Prime Minister, who, he's rich, right? Like, he's always been rich. I'm not mad at him, but I'm just telling the truth, okay? Maybe I am mad at him. Like, he's rich, okay? Like he's got a family wealth from right down from his great grandfather. Anyway, he's a trust fund guy. So he may not know this because he hasn't ever done a mortgage application, but we do this already. We already, if you want to supplement your credit report, you can submit the history of you paying your rent on time. This is like forever in Canada. But if you're a group of people like the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister and all of his advisors are people who are always been very comfortable and found it easy to get a mortgage from a bank, they wouldn't know this. They wouldn't know that it was already part of the system. Okay? Now, here's the craziest part. Are they trying to spread the crazy lie, the absolute politically based lie that, oh, this doesn't happen now and it's not fair. So we're going to make it happen. We're going to cause people, oh, maybe this is their crazy idea. We're going to make it so that people who have a terrible credit report can just use this payment history on your rent to get a mortgage. No, not happening. That's absolutely ridiculous. It would be a violation of the Bank Act. I can't even begin to tell you how crazy this is. Like, there is no sense to this, none whatsoever. It's absolutely insane. But that's the new set of political lies they've put out in Canada now. Like, again, I don't hate the Prime Minister, but this stuff is political foolishness, falsehood, and just plain nuts. All of it is nuts.